Hi guys, it's Blackie. Okay, as we announced Monday, there's a new knife. And the background of this is a little more convoluted, so let me fill you in on a few more details. As you know, I've been working with William Collins since 2015, and actually a little bit before, so like 5, 6, 7 years ago now. And he and I have collaborated on things where he has created a knife design and I've done the field testing for it. Me and other people have done the field testing. And we've given him feedback on how we thought it'd be a little bit better or whatever. And he's listened to us. That's something very rare today in a knife maker, but he's listened to us. And because of that, we've come up with some really good designs. Now, one of the designs, like you saw in an earlier video, is my Master Woodsman prototype. Now, this was like the second one I got, and this one and I just clicked. Well, I'd had it, I don't know, 6 months or something like that, and he had changed, enlarged the design, widened the blade, moved the sweet spot up a little bit, changed the grip a little bit, and that became the Master Woodsman Model 1. And it was a successful design for William. And then the other tip, there are two tips. This one has the bushcraft tip, which I prefer. And the other one had a tip that was a butcher knife type blade tip. Because that's one of the things that we talked about. To me, the butcher knife is just the best knife for processing game there is. When you know how to use it, it's your go-to design. So having one in the field, a lot of the old timers carried butcher knives in the field for a reason. And so if I am a hunter who's going to be doing a lot of processing of meat, the Model 2 would be better because it had a butcher knife type end on it, doing a lot of skinning, processing. If I'm a woodscrafter, bushcrafter, who also does a little bit of meat processing, etc., that's where the Model 1 came in. Well, even then, my design was kind of an old pattern. And I kept it. Man, this knife just worked for me. It was my go-to knife. And the other knives that I got for William for field testing, I would give him honest reviews. I would work on them. I would take them out, field test them, etc. But I always come back to this one. This was my knife. And the knife I wanted to carry from now on. Well, so many of you, my followers, have contacted William over the years wanting a knife like mine. And they realized it was different than the Model 1 Master Woodsman, that they wanted my knife. And so William decided to do that. After our collaboration going on so long and everything, he decided he would release a run of those knives. And from that, you get this knife. Now, this knife and my knife are basically the same. They're just very minor differences. But really, it's in the straight edge right here. He made it more blended and a little more straight ahead, which is something I told him that I wish this one had come up a little bit further, just like a ½ inch, and blended a little bit better. So he incorporated that into it, and he narrowed the blade just a little. Yeah, I mean just a little, to make it a little bit better for bushcrafting duties and etc. So this is actually my feedback created this knife. Now, William, wanting to do a little nod to me and all the help I've given to him and etc. over the last several years in knife work, he decided he was going to name this model after me. Now, as you know, I am Blackie. Well, the long story short of it is I have some Native American heritage in me, and I have a Native American name, and that means in Cherokee raven. Well, the other side of my family, my mother's side of the family, where I lived and grew up, my grandfather on that side, he didn't call ravens, crows, starlings by those names. He called all of them blackbirds. And so the nickname that got hung on me as a little bitty boy was Little Blackbird. By the time I was, 5, 6, 7 years old, it had changed to Blackie. Instead of Blackbird, it was Blackie. So that's the name I go by, is Blackie. And to honor that, he marks these blades. This is called the Blackbird model. He marks it with a raven stamp, a blackbird stamp. So that's this model, is the Blackbird. Now, this one is an AEBL with that Voodoo Heat-Treat that William comes up with. It's My old knife is an 012 tool steel. I had requested that because I know how to treat it in the field. I know how easy it is for me to sharpen and maintain in the field. It's a tried and true type of steel that I know what's going to happen with it in the field. Well, working and developing for the WCSK, we came up with the Voodoo Heat-Treat, we call it, for the AEBL steel, which is a form of stainless. It holds an edge equal to my 01, if not actually a little bit better, to be honest. It sharpens easier than my 01 tool steel. And in the field, it's very easy to maintain. Plus, I don't have the rust problem that I could have. It's much more rust resistant. And so because of that, he went with this for this design. Now, this material is called SureTouch. And what it is, it's layers of G10, and this is the black and gray, I believe you said, with the green and gray. And then a layer of rubber. Now, this is very thin little layers. I don't know if you can see on the end how thin those layers are. But my concern whenever William and I were discussing, and he wanted to do this one, of this handle material, and actually it was for the knife I got for Christmas. My EDC knife has this type of material on it, this SureTouch. I said, is it going to peel and roll up? Is it something when I'm bearing down and twisting like this, trying to hog holes, is it going to grab on my hand and roll up and end up deteriorating like a lot of rubber handles do? And he said, no, I grind this. And so if you're on a big belt sander and it's not tearing it apart, it leaves a smooth finish on a belt sander, yeah, it's going to be pretty durable. And it's also, it feels warm to the touch. I mean, when you pick it up, it's not cold. Now, my old knife has my Carta scale. And on really cold mornings, you a loud bird. On really cold mornings, when you pick it up, it feels a little cold to touch and you got to warm it up with your hand. This one doesn't. It just feels warm when you grab a hold of it, and I really like that. We also changed the tang just a grunt, the way it rolls out just a grunt. Minor little details. But man, this is the knife. This one has my name on it, Blackie, and it'll be the only one, according to William, that has a name stamped on it. So don't even bother, guys. But I want you to give a much better up close look at it, and I'll get up here and let you see it up close, really close to the Master Woodsman, my old prototype. Now this one's got mosaic pins, this one just has pins on it. And there you are, a relative of thickness. I believe they're about, they are the same thickness. Now if I put them back to back, you can see the slight change in geometry. That's a slight improvement that me and William had already discussed about doing to the Master Woodsman Mark I for a slight angle difference. But it was dialing it in. That's very much a prototype. So now my original is actually the prototype for the Master Woodsman Model 1 and for the Blackbird. So it's a double prototype. Hoorah! Now, how does it perform in the field? We're going to be getting into that. It's got a wonderful feel to it. It's razor sharp from William, of course. It pulls, it drags, it does all that. And all those features that I've come to expect with the Master Woodsman are here. The Master Woodsman grind of having this straight edge right there. That's for these pull cuts and push cuts and your precision 90-degree cutting. And then you've got the sweet spot right there. And that's for whenever you want to bear down and hog off wood. When you grab in, you start on the straight edge and then you hook. And you see, since this isn't a straight blade, it actually hooks in. So it's like a hook coming down like a kukri and cuts in deeper. So I can really hog off some material. Meanwhile, that tip up there, I can choke up on the blade and get up here and use just that tip for real precision work in carving or making trap parts or whatever I'm needing to do. It's very easy to do that with that tip. It's got a good rock solid 90-degree spine on it. And I know you're going to ask, this is my 6-way sheath that I've got from stitchgear.com, and you've seen me for a couple of years now utilizing for my Master Woodsman. The Blackbird fits it exactly. I talked to Randy, he was at this event, and he said that he's got to make sure he's still got the welt, because the welt is slightly different than the one on the Master Woodsman Model 1, because it was a slightly different knife. He says he's sure he's still got it. If not, we're going to be working with him. So you could get you one of these 6-way sheaths from Randy if you want the exact rig that Blackie's got. That's the way to go. I like the way this holds it in there. It's easy to grab. There's enough of it out there. And the way that bottom of that Coke bottle handle that William makes, it's just perfect to hook a finger and grab, and it comes right out in your hand. Super easy. I'll be getting rid of the little toggle and putting orange paracord, you know me. But at 90-degree spine back there. Now, as you can see, this is gnarly, old weather. This is an old pine core that I went and split off a few minutes ago. When you turn it over, that's when you see that deep golden color. This is fat wood that we have down here in my part of the South. This is what I call Alabama gold. We're not talking about powdered oak, we're talking about fat wood. But it becomes that deep orange color. And you put it down and you take the back of that spine and you start just bearing down and shaving. So I can take a piece like this and put in my haversack and be able to easily create me a flash place in order to create me a fire. And then on my stitch gear sheath, I have my ferro rod. Again, with that 90-degree spine, I like to get up here near the top. I want to keep this edge back here toward the back, true 90. I don't want to round it with my ferro rod. So what I like to do is take my thumb and get up here near the top of my ferro rod and give it a scrape up there. Just like that. No muss, no fuss. A piece of fat wood and a good knife. That's all I need. So, you're going to be seeing this knife in the coming months. That's where this knife comes from. That's the history. That's the background of it. It's the Blackbird by WC Knives. It's a good, solid field knife. I've had people ask me, what would be the best survival knife? In my opinion, this. I know a lot of people are going to balk about that. But it's because in my woods, I want a knife that's going to perform all the functions of wood prep, game prep, even self-defense, all of the above. That's the knife that I want right there. With this knife, I can do anything I need to do. Please leave any questions or comments below, guys. And thank you so much for supporting my channel and for working with me and William on his knives.